Right, friends. So let's start with this. Okay. So I welcome you all. Here we're going to start with the first international case study. Okay, this is directly related to your chapter intro to SCM, that is Introduction to Strategic Cost Management. So I've picked this particular case study. So without wasting any further time, let's move on with this. So AB company manufactures, markets and distributes a large range of electronic components, and it has established a significant market share across Europe and United States of America. AB has three different divisions: the Domestic Electric Components Division (DEC), the Industrial Electronic Components Division (IEC), and the Special Components Division, that is SC. The DEC division and the IEC division supply standard electronic components for domestic as well as industrial use, while the SC division supplies specialist components which are often unique and made to specific customer requirements. Each division has its own factory with DEC and IEC factories based on the same Eastern European country, and SI's factory is based in a Western European country. Okay, what else we have? So, all three divisions have been profitable over the past 5 years, although the board has traditionally taken a relatively cautious approach to providing strategic direction for the company. However, AB's institutional shareholders are now looking for increased growth and profitability. In the past, the institutional shareholders have been critical of AB's board for being overly cautious in their attitude towards risk. In AB's most recent annual report published in March 2020, the board stated that AB's overall strategic aim is to achieve growth and increase shareholders' return by continuing to produce and distribute high quality electronic components and develop our international presence through expansion into new overseas markets. 2 years earlier, in 2018, AB established a separate trading company with a local partner in Asia to sell the IEC division's products. The ownership of the company is shared 50% by AB and 50% with a local entrepreneur. AB chose this structure because of local legal requirements. A further legal requirement is that in case of the company ceasing to trade, AB will be required to reimburse the local entrepreneur the full amount of his original investment, which is $500,000. So, what else we have? The expansion was initially very successful, with good levels of demand being exercised for IEC's products. Recently, however, a number of environmental factors have rapidly changed. These include a forecast of declining demand for IEC's products in Asia due to adverse world economic factors, which have slowed the growth in demand for the electronic components in total, and a move towards protectionism in some Asian countries. The trading company has originally been forecast to make a profit of $2 million in 2011, but this figure has now been reforecast to $1.6 million. Okay, that's fine. So, what else we have got? Uh, IEC has also been unfortunate in that its direct labor cost in Asia have increased by more than the planned level. Economic intelligence suggests that this inflation will continue increasing for the next 2 years. However, analysis by AB's management accountant shows that the trading company's cost, and in particular its wage cost, are proportionally much higher than its competitors. So, what is that he has asked? Advise the board of AB how strategic management accounting could help it manage the performance of the trading company in Asia. Discuss the factors which AB should consider before withdrawing from the trading company it has established with its partner in Asia, and briefly discuss how the board's attitude to risk means it may respond to potential new opportunities in a different way than what the institutional shareholders would like to be. Okay, so that's your question. Okay, so what do you do as usual? Read the question minimum 2 times. Okay, so once you are done with your reading, we'll start with the solution. Okay, read the question, guys. Right, guys, read the question. Right, guys. So I hope you are done with your reading. Chalo. So as usual, what we are going to do is that we're going to solve this particular international case study in a pretty unique way. So that's a two-step procedure. In the first step, what we are going to do is that I'm going to tell you the tips and tricks, that is the clues, so that you can do this particular case study on your own. That is going to be a step one. And in step two, once we are done with the step one part, we're going to go with the complete answer. Of course, it's going to be through the famous power notes that is prepared by myself again. Got the point? Chalo. Anyway, so let's have a look into the first part of the question. So advise the board of AB how strategic management accounting could help it manage the performance of the trading company in Asia. So how this particular strategic management accounting, in other words, we can say strategic cost management, will help this particular company to manage the performance of the trading company in Asia is the first part of the question. Chalo. So we have this international case study, of course, by CA Prasanna Kumar. That's me, fondly referred as PK sir. And you've got AB Electronics, Power Notes. And what is the concept that is going to be applied in this particular case study? Introduction to Strategic Cost Management. Is that clear? Now, let's go with the tips to write case study. So, part A. So, what is the part A question? Again, one more time, we'll read. See here. Advise the board of AB how strategic management accounting could help it manage the performance of the trading company in Asia. So, you got to explain how the strategic management accounting or strategic cost management will help it to manage the performance of the trading company that it has recently established in Asia along with partnership with somebody else. You got the point? So, what are all the clues? What are all the tips? What are all the points that you have to cover? As usual, first we need to start with typical point, that is SCM versus traditional management accounting, or strategic management accounting versus traditional management accounting. So, start with your typical answer, this versus that. So, in fact, if we see in our lectures, when we started with intro to SCM, the first topic is that only. What are the traditional management accounting? What are its negative points? So, why we needed something called SCM or SMA, strategic cost management or strategic management accounting? Are you able to understand? Actually, they are not exactly the same, but we can use them as a synonyms. Like, for example, inventory and stock is there. Inventory and stock, we'll use it as alternatives, right? But exactly they are not same. Still, there is a difference between them. Like that only, we can use SCM as well as SMA. So this is the first area that you should be writing when you write your answer. Next, have some points which is related to external focus, in the sense what competitor is doing. Are you able to understand? See, if I have to measure a performance of a particular company in Asia, there I have to see what my competitor is doing in that particular area. Is he doing well? Relative to him, am I doing well? So those points will be covered here. Non-financial information you have to cover. Financial information also you have to cover. That is numbers and non-numbers. Quantity as well as quality. Got it? So these are all the tips, which means your answer should form part of all these elements. You got it? That's it. Now coming on to the second part of the question. What is the second part of the question? He's asking you, discuss the factors which AB should consider before withdrawing from the trading company it has established with its partner in Asia. Now they are trying to withdraw. There are so many reasons for that. Adverse world economic factors, the protectionism of the Asian countries, thereby what they are doing is that it's going to be detrimental for any company who have come from the outside, correct? So therefore, what he is trying to ask you is that you please try to discuss all those factors which the particular company AB should consider before they take a decision to withdraw from the Asian company. I mean, from the Asian, area where they are actually trying to do business. Okay. Anyway, so the first thing is consider numbers, financial implications. If at all you withdraw from Asia, what is the impact in terms of numbers? How much are you going to lose? Also consider non-financial implications as well. That is your reputation. Suppose you have tried to, come out from Asia, from a particular place of business, then obviously that's going to have an impact on your goodwill. How much it's going to be, that also you need to consider. Not only that, so when you are trying to come out of a particular part from Asia, what about the other parts? Other alternative market possibilities within Asia, because Asia is not just one country, right? It has got so many countries. So you have got so many markets. You're only coming out of from one particular market. Then what about alternative markets? Did you consider that? Is there a possibility? That should also form part of your answer. And of course, when you're writing your answer, you should consider both short-term effects and long-term effects because of withdrawing from Asia. Got the point? So these are all the points that your answer must have. Are you able to understand? Financial implications of withdrawing from Asia, non-financial implications of withdrawing from Asia, long-term and short-term implications of withdrawing from Asia, alternative markets within Asia. Got it? And at last, part C. What are the tips and tricks? What is part C? Briefly discuss how the board's attitude to risk means it may respond to new opportunities in different way when compared to the shareholders. Obviously, this from the question itself we can understand. Board and shareholders, they have got different mindset, right? So first write that board versus shareholders. In what way board is different? In what way shareholders are different? And you can easily say that board is more risk averse, whereas shareholders seems to be risk seekers. So board is pretty much conservative in nature, whereas when it comes to shareholders, they seem to be what, willing to take risk. Therefore, they want more risk. They are willing to get, they are willing to take more risk in expectation to get more return. Whereas board is pretty much the opposite. That's what it has been explained. If you look at the question, that's what the feel is from the question: board versus shareholders. So this is one point that you need to cover when you're writing answer for part 3. Got the point? So that's it. So these are all the clues. So to write the answer for this particular case study, I hope you guys have understood what are all the clues, in the sense, what are all the points that you need to consider when you need to write your own answer. So when you're writing your own case study answer, what are all the points that I have to consider? You got it? That is what I've explained so far. So now what I request you guys is, stop the video here, and you have already written the clues, correct? The tips. Try to write answer on your own. Of course, this you have to do provided if you have done with the entire syllabus of SC and PE, or at least intro to SCM chapter you should have done, and you should have done all the ICA sources materials, all the problems that ICA has got. Are you able to understand? Once you are done with that, then only come to this international case study and look at the tips what I've taught you right now and have a question in front of you, and then try to do it on your own. Okay, so pause the video, try to do this on your own with the help of these tips, and then only go with the rest of the video where I would have explained you clearly the whole answer. Is that clear? Are you guys with me? Chalo, fantastic. Okay, pause the video. Meanwhile, you guys can copy this tips and tricks. Okay, I'll just give you some 2 minutes. You can pause the video, you can copy this and write the answers on your own. Then I'll go for the rest of the solution. Do it, guys. Done with this? Okay, copy this now. Done, guys? Okay, the last part, finish it off. Done with reading, guys? Chalo. Now let's move on with the case study. Okay, so what is the first question that is asked? How the strategic management accounting could help it manage the performance of the trading company in Asia. So, how SCM or SMA could help? Let's try to analyze this. Okay, first one is we'll start with competitors' cost. That is one area we'll cover. Market growth is another area that we'll cover. See, if you look at the tips that I've told you, all these points were actually covered. So, look at the first part of the question. What did I say? External focus. External focus is nothing but when I talk about competitors' cost, it's external focus only. Are you able to understand? Market growth is also external focus. What are all the areas which we have told you to cover? SCM versus traditional management accounting. That also we'll see. Okay. Anyway, let's start discussing this answer. First of all, market growth. As I've put an arrow mark here, so here it. Okay. Right. Anyway, chalo, see you. So first, what you have to do is you need to look at the market size and market growth versus what is your share. Are you able to understand? Because what basically is happening is you have told in the question, you have seen in the question that there is something called economic slowdown. So because of economic slowdown, basically what happens? As a whole, the market growth should have got reduced. As a whole, the market size should have got a little bit, what can I say? It should have got compressed, So now the point is, what is the best that you can do in this situation? As a whole, the entire market is trying to get what? Reduced. The best that I can do from my side is whatever the share that I've got in the market, I should try to increase my share. Are you able to understand? For example, this is the market share. This is the market size earlier. This is what your share, which is let's say 20% share. This is the market size. Now what you can do, if the market size as a whole is reducing, then you better try to increase your share. That's the best that you can do, correct? Chalo. So that's one point. So increase, or at least try to increase your market share. That would be the better option. Then external focus should be priority. How many competitors are there? What is the size of the competitors? How much is their share in the total market size as a whole? In the total market, how much is the share of your competitor? How many competitors are there? What is our share relative to the competitor's share? Are you able to understand? All these are external focus. You got it? Next, look at the cost of the competitor. Your own operating cost must be compared with competitor's cost. Are you able to understand? For example, in this question, you can ask me, sir, how this particular thought has come to you? Very simple, because it was clearly given in the question that your wage cost is very high when compared to your competitor's wage cost. So then immediately you have to understand, why is that my wage cost is very high when compared to competitor's wage cost? So the focus should be on controlling the cost, correct? Are you able to understand? Again, this is external focus only. External focus, thereby getting a relativity to the internal focus. So what I'm basically doing, I'm looking at my competitor and I'm looking at my competitor's wages cost, and his wage cost is relatively less when compared to my wage cost. Then I'm trying to control my own wage cost. Got the point? Next. Also, IEC's products are standardized. Are you able to understand? Because there are three divisions. Only one division you have special products. Remaining and all, it is standard products. Now look at the question once. I don't know whether you guys remember that or not. Okay, let me show you that. See, you got domestic electronic components division, that is DEC, industrial electronic components division, that is IEC, and specialist components division. Totally three divisions are there. Now DEC and IEC are standard electronic components, whereas SC will give you special electronic components. You got the point? So because IEC's products are standardized, so cost efficiency is an important factor, as there is no scope for differentiation. Very important point and beautiful point. See, if it is specialist products, then I can somehow try to sell it by making the product different and saying that my product is unique in the market. I can somehow sell it because that's my selling point ultimately. But when the product is standard, then the selling point based on differentiation aspect is gone. The only selling point that I've got is only trying to make the product, available at lowest price possible, because my product is standard. Standard in the sense everybody more or less sells the same. Then what is the selling point for me? How can I make the customer buy my product? The only option is to have an affordable selling price. To have an affordable selling price, cost efficiency is pretty damn important. In other words, we can say it is inevitable. Are you able to understand? That's one beautiful point. So when I read the question itself, I should be able to understand, okay, IEC and DEC are making standardized components, which means there is no other choice of increasing your selling price, thereby making your product different. Okay, the only choice is that you have to sell it at a reasonable price because your products are standard. So the only option available is to reduce your cost. So cost efficiency is a must. That's how the logic goes. Got it? Next, analysis of current performance. Again, this is external focus, your performance versus competitors' performance. Okay, this will help you to assess whether your current strategy is working or not. If your performance is better when compared to your competitor's performance, then your current strategy is working. If your performance is pretty bad when compared to the competitor's performance, then your current strategy is not working. Therefore, revise your strategy. Are you able to understand? For example, if you can see, the profit forecast was actually what? 2 million versus now they are trying to revise it to 1.6 million, which means maybe your current strategy is not working. Therefore, initially your forecast was lot and now you have to revise it. Or maybe initially when you had forecasted this $2 million, probably you were over optimistic. Your budget were over optimistic and therefore you went for 2 million. That might be a reason. Or maybe your 2 million forecast was good, but now because of economic slowdown, you have to revise it to 1.6 million. So anything may be the reason. So you have to think about all the different probabilities, all the different variables, and all the variables must form part of your answer. That's the beauty of SCM&PE. Are you able to understand? Think about various possibilities. What could have happened? What could have happened? What could have happened? Now this 2 million initial forecast and the revised forecast of 1.6 million, see how many possibilities are there? Are you able to understand? Maybe now you have to revise forecast it. I mean, you have to revise it. Why? Because maybe your performance, your current strategies are not working. So you thought that maybe this 2 million was not feasible as of now because my current strategies are not working. Therefore, I have to revise it to 1.6. Might be a reason. Or at that time, probably when you were working out $2 million itself, you were over optimistic. And therefore, now you have come to the reality and you thought that $2 million is not going to work. Let's go for 1.6. That is another, possibility. Third possibility is that at that time your $2 million, whatever the budget that you, whatever the forecast that you made was correct, but unfortunately right now because of economic slowdown things went bad and therefore you have to revise it to 1.6. Any possibilities can happen, any of these possibilities could have happened. You got it? So you have to think about all the variables, right? And finally, forecasting. Okay, your own forecast versus competitors performance and market trends you have to analyze. What was my forecast? Okay, it is going at this particular trend. Then what about my competitors forecast, competitors performance, how it is happening? You got to compare and then you see where do you stand. So based on the above, one can analyze how realistic is his forecast is. For example, we have forecasted $2 million. A competitor who is better in size when compared to you, who is having better market share, who is having better market goodwill, he is having a forecast of 1.8 million. From that, you can easily say that your original forecast is over optimistic. You were wrong, and therefore it has got nothing to do with actuals. Your forecast itself is wrong. Are you able to understand? So that's how we got to think. You got it? So what we have seen here, your strategic cost management or SMA could help in these ways. Competitors cost you can analyze, market growth you can analyze, analysis of your current performance and forecast. Whether you're forecasted well, whether your current performance is doing well, compare it with your competitor, or able to understand what about your cost versus competitive costs. I mean competitors cost, example the wage. What about your growth versus competitors growth versus the whole market as a whole, its growth. Got the point? Okay. So that's what we have seen in the first part of this particular case study. Fantastic. Now let's move on to the second part. So what is the second part we have? Discuss the factors which AB should consider before withdrawing from the trading company it has established with its partner in Asia. So let's try to answer that. Right, guys. So now we are done with the first part. Let's move on to the second part. Now look at the question. So what are the factors that AB should consider before withdrawing the trading company with its established partner in Asia? Okay, let's have a look into that. So factors to be considered before withdrawing from Asia. Okay, I told you in the tips also all these things. Numerical factors, that is numbers, financial considerations, non-financial considerations, short-term impact, long-term impact, as well as alternative options. That's what we are trying to cover here as well. Okay, now watch carefully. The first factor that you have to consider before you withdraw yourself from Asia, just a second, guys. Yeah, is the sales potential. See, we know that you are not reaching your expectations. Okay, your expectation was $2 million and it has been revised to 1.6. I know you are not reaching your expectation. I can understand. But the question is it still profitable? See, despite not reaching your expectations, is it still profitable? If it is profitable, then you should be thinking yourself again before you try to withdraw yourself from the Asian business. Okay. So, another thing is, how much is AB's investment? There is no information in the question. Without that, how can I take my decision? So first of all, you need to see how much is the investment you have made. I would have commented right now, we would have commented right now, provided that information is given in the question, but there is no information with respect to AB's investment, unfortunately. Are you able to understand? So depending upon what is the future profitability expectations, maybe this economic recession may turn into a positive way, which means it may end. And this protectionism principles also may stop. And maybe AB has invested a lot. We don't know that figure, first of all. Are you able to understand? So based on this also we can take a decision. Okay, AB can eventually what? Take a decision. Next, environmental factors. Okay, so environment factors in the sense, what are all the things that is happening right now? That is nothing but these economic and political factors. Okay, this particular business in Asia is adversely affected, which means negatively affected by the economic factors and political factors. Those are all the environment factors that is happening over there. Environment factors means don't understand that it is related to protecting the environment. Okay, are able to understand? It's general term that we have used here. Economic factors and political factors. For example, protectionism. Of course, this is affecting your business adversely, which means in a negative way. The question is, how much is the impact? How much you got affected? Did you lose 5% profit? Did you lose 10% profit? Did you lose 20% profit? Did you lose 80% profit of what you have anticipated? Did you lose 5% of your market share because of this? No information. How much is the impact is not clear in the question. So that should be clear. Have that clarity before you take a decision. Long term and short term impact. As I told you, economic condition may improve in future, or at the same time things may get even worse in the future also due to continuation of protectionist policies if they are expected to remain for a longer time. That is also there. So plus and minus, everything you have to think, short term and long term. In long term, things may become positive or things may become negative also. Protectionism philosophies or the policies may be totally removed or it may be continued. Both the opportunities we have to, both the options we have to analyze as of now. Alternative channel possibilities, that is, as we have seen in the question, you have to look out for alternative markets, right? We have seen it in tips also. So AB should decide whether it stops selling its products in Asia or it may try to find an alternative channel itself. So are you totally coming out of Asia or only from that specific market and you're trying to search for any alternative markets? That clarity must be there. You got it? Next. Also look into strength of competition. How much is the rivalry that you have got with your competition? If the rivalry is not too much, then you might consider not leaving that particular market. If the rivalry is too much, then you may try to what? Come back, withdraw. What about the threat of new entrants? What about the bargaining power of customers? We have already seen these concepts, correct? Yeah, Porter's 5 forces. So analyze all Porter's 5 forces. Based on that, try to analyze what is the strength of your competition. Got it? Next. Exit barriers. That is also there, right? Exit barriers is also there. This is one of the concept of Porter's 5 forces only. If exit barriers is very strong, if exit barriers is very high, very strong, then the existing competition among the competitors in the industry will be more severe. This point we have seen when we have learned concepts. Try to recollect. So AB is liable to pay $500,000. Copy paste the sentence from the question. That is a exit barrier, right? You cannot just like that, you cannot withdraw and you can go to your home country. You have to pay him the compensation of $500,000 and it's not a joke, and that's an exit barrier. If you want to exit, it's a barrier. Yes. Next, wider implications. I told you in the tips also, you need to consider non-financial aspects. Withdrawal will damage your reputation. So in future also, you may not get any other willing partner in Asia. If at all you want to do business in future, after this protectionist policies or withdrawn, after the economic factors have become positive, this economic slowdown is gone in future, then again if you are trying to get into Asia, because of your expansion policies, you may not find a partner because of your history. Your reputation is gone because you have already had a business with your partner in Asia and then you have just withdrawn in the middle. Thereby your partner has got affected. Of course, you have to pay him compensation, but still that will hurt the reputation, right? And therefore tomorrow when things are good, nobody may be willing to partner with you. That possibility is there. That's what we call wider implications in future. Got it? And also business portfolio. AB should also assess the growth prospects in current European and American markets. That also you can do. See, right now I'm talking about expansion and I'm talking about doing business in Asia. So when you're trying to withdraw, you see the alternatives over here. Here in the existing European and American markets, can I do better business in future? If the answer is yes, then you may withdraw. If the answer is no, then you may have to think one more time before withdrawing from Asian market. Because mostly Asian markets will be emerging economies. So the growth will be very high. The growth prospects will be very big. But European and American markets are mostly stagnant markets. So the growth prospects won't be that much. That's why many countries are willing to come to India. That's the reason. Got it? Okay, coming on to the last part. What is the last part you have? Briefly discuss how the board's attitude to risk means it may respond to potential new opportunities in a different way when compared to the institution's shareholders. Because shareholders are basically risk seekers. It appears to be risk seekers and board appears to be what? Risk averse. Let's cover that. Board versus shareholders. First one is risk averse. The board could make decisions based on worst outcome that could occur. This is maxi-min approach. There's an approach called maxi-min approach, maxi-max approach. Okay. So what this board will do is that it could make decisions based on worst outcome that could occur. Are you able to understand? So that is what you call it as conservatism, people. Even though, see, it will see what is the risk. It will choose only that option where the worst outcome is least. See, if there are multiple options, it will choose that option where the worst outcome is least. For example, let's say there are three options: one, two, three. Best outcome, worst outcome. Best outcome is 20,000 is the profit. Worst outcome is 8,000 loss. Second option, let's say 18,000 is the best outcome. Worst outcome is 5,000. Third option, 12,000 is the best outcome. Worst outcome is 1,000. If you are a risk seeker, you'll go for 1. If you are risk averse like the board, you'll go for 3. So in minimum loss, what is the maximum profit you're going to get? That is what we call maximum. So the board could make decisions based on worst outcome that could occur, which means here the worst outcome is least, it will go for this conservative approach, risk averse. Because of this, what happened? Your best outcome is also less. You want to take less risk, your return also will be less. You want to take more risk, your return also will be high. Are you able to understand? Whereas when it comes to shareholders, they may expect the board to seek the one that maximizes the benefit irrespective of the risk. Are you able to understand? Maximize the benefit irrespective of the risk. That is nothing but maxi-max approach, which means they would like the board to go for first option in this example. The shareholders may expect the board to go for the first option. But the board will eventually go for the third option. Got the point? Risk and return. Board might want higher return for X% of risk. Okay, while the shareholder would be happy for same board versus shareholders, which means what I'm trying to tell you is that the shareholders might say, for this percentage of risk, whatever the return that you are getting is okay for us. Whereas the board might say, no, I'm not happy with the return that I'm getting for this much of risk I'm taking. I want more return. So therefore, you'll have this issue of board versus shareholders, which means for 10% risk, say for example, board will be expecting 20%, but shareholders will say 15% also we are fine. Are you able to understand? Which means for so much of risk, X percentage of risk, so much of return is okay for shareholders, but board is asking more. See, for X amount of risk, if you want more return, it means you are risk averse. I'm taking this much of risk, therefore I want more and more return. Are you able to understand? So that's a basic fight between the board as well as the shareholders. That is what we need to explain over here. You got it? Chalo, that's it. So with this, we are done with this particular international case study. It's a kind of decent one. Okay, once you have read the question thoroughly, I hope it's fine. Okay, so now what you guys do is that you can copy the answer. Okay, so I'll give you time, 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes per page. You copy and then move on to the next part. Got it? Chalo guys, copy. Shall we revise one more time? Okay, let me stop. We'll revise one more time and then we'll move on. Okay, what is the first one? How strategic cost management or strategic management accounting could help this particular company, AB, to measure the performance of the trading company that it has started in Asia. So, what are the points we need to cover? First one is market growth. Look at the market size in Asia and the growth of the entire market, in Asia, and your market share. Even though economic slowdown is happening, the only best thing that you can do is to increase your market share, because anyway size is out of your control, the whole market size, and that is anyway shrinking. Normally in economic slowdown, that's what happens, either it will be stagnant or it will be shrinking. So whatever the pie, the share that you have got, you may try to increase it. That is one option. Are you able to understand? And external focus must be your priority. What is, how many competitors are there, what is the size, what's their growth, what is their share? Are you able to understand? Versus your growth and your share. That can be one good analytical part. Coming on to the second one is competitors cost. You need to analyze what is your own operating cost versus competitor's cost. Okay, because there was a point in the question saying that your wage cost is very high when compared to the competitor's wage cost. So therefore, try to understand why. Thereby, try to control your cost. And one more bad thing that we have got is because IEC's products are mostly standardized, we cannot follow the differentiation strategy. We cannot make the product different and then sell it at a higher price. The only choice that we have got is to make the cost feasible and make the selling price also feasible. Are able to understand? So, because we cannot increase our selling price, the only way we can sustain or increase the profits is by reducing or controlling the cost. Therefore, cost efficiency is of primary importance. This is a golden universal rule for all standardized products. Which means when you learn these case studies, you should learn this way. Okay, so from here after, in any case study, wherever there are standardized products, I can come out with this point saying that because the product is standardized, there is no scope for differentiation, which means cost efficiency is an important factor. Can I use this anywhere, sir? You can use it anywhere. Can I use this in any case study, sir? You can use it in any case study wherever you come across standardized products. Got it? That's how. Learn. Don't learn as a case study as a whole. Learn them as adjustments, bits and pieces you need to learn. Okay, next. Analysis of current performance. In any problem, this will be universal point. Your performance versus competitive performance. It will help you assess whether your current strategy is working or not. If you're performing better than your competitor, your current strategy is working. If you're performing less than your competitor, then your current strategy is not working. As simple as that. Are you able to understand? Another important thing is that you have made this profit forecast of $2 million, as you can see here in the question. The trading company has originally been forecast to make a profit of $2 million, whereas now it has been revised to how much? $1.6 million. Why is that happened? Probably because right now your performance is not doing good, which means your current strategies are not working. That is one possibility. Second possibility is initially when you forecasted $2 million profit, maybe you were over optimistic. Therefore, that budget itself was wrong. Now the reality is different. Are you able to understand? Third thing is maybe initially your budget is right, that $2 million of profit, but because of economic slowdown, now we are not able to achieve $2 million. Therefore, $1.6 million is only possible. Are you able to understand? Anything is possible, right? Sounds logical. Got it, guys? Next, forecasting. Your own forecast versus competitors' performance and market trends. My forecast is $2 million profit. My competitor is bigger in size when compared to me, has more market share when compared to me. Still, his forecast was $1.8 million. It means that my forecast is wrong. Are you able to understand? So, based on the above, one can analyze how realistic the forecast is going to be. Got it? Sounds logical, right? Okay. Coming on to the second part. What are the factors to be considered before withdrawing from Asia? Very simple. First, look at sales potential. Even though you are not able to reach your expectations of $2 million profit, but still you might be profitable. In that case, why are you trying to withdraw? Another important thing is that we don't have any information with respect to how much this guy has invested, AB has invested. Without that information, we cannot take a call. So, first of all, try to get to know about the investment that you have made. Also, depending upon the future profitability expectations, we can take a decision. Are you able to understand? Next, environment factors, which is nothing but the political and economic factors. Your company has got obviously negatively affected because of the economic and political factors, especially the protectionism principles. But because of that protectionism, we know that AB Electronics has got negatively affected. But the question is, how much they got affected, we don't know. What is the impact? 5% profit, 10% profit you have lost, or 30% profit you have lost, or 50% profit you have lost, or 5% market share you have lost, or 8% market share you have lost, or 18% market share you have lost. I don't know. I know that the impact is negative, but how much? Without that, how can I take a decision to withdraw from Asia? I need to know how much it is. That is one thing you got to look at. Next, long-term and short-term impacts. Economic condition may improve in future. Protectionism principles may go away altogether, which is a good thing, or it may be continued, and things may become even more wrong, even more worse. Both the possibilities are there, so you have to think about that. Got it? Next, alternative channel possibility. So AB should decide whether it stops selling in products altogether in Asia, or it may try to look out for some other markets within Asia. That's also possibilities there. Next, strength of competition. Apply Potter's 5 forces. Simple. How much is the competitive rivalry? What is the size of you versus your competitor? All of you are in similar size, then the competition will be much more rival, right? Much more intense. Or most of the competitors are of different sizes. All of you guys are of same size, or all of you guys are of different sizes. Okay. Threat of new entrants. Are you able to understand? Bargaining power of customers, bargaining power of buyers, everything. Potter's 5 forces, you can put it over there. Exit barrier is also there. because AB should be liable to pay $500,000, you can copy paste all the relevant sentence from the question, and that exit barrier is there. So if you want to withdraw, think about this exit barrier also, because you have to pay $500,000 to your competitor, and it will damage your reputation also. Wider implications. Tomorrow, if everything has become good, there is no more economic slowdown. There is no more protectionism principles. So everything is good. Everything is positive in Asia, emerging economy of the world. Now you want to invest again. Now you're looking for partner. Maybe nobody can come forward. Nobody may come forward. Why? Because of your reputation. It has been bad, because already once you have started and you have given hand to your competitor, okay, you have left him and you went back. So now nobody might be interested to come again. That will impact your future, correct? Business portfolio. Okay, think about your existing market also. Why are you just thinking about your Asian market? So if you're trying to withdraw from Asia, see what can be the alternative market available. So if I withdraw from Asia, is there alternative available for me in existing American and European markets? Answer is yes, you may withdraw. Answer is no, you better think before you withdraw. Got it? Last, board versus shareholders as usual. Board is risk averse, which means, as I told you, in these three options, it will go for the last option because the risk is less. So it will go for that option which has got lowest risk, and whatever the return is available, it will go for that option. That is the thought process of board. Okay. Whereas risk seekers, what they will do is that they'll see all the options, they'll go for that option which has got highest return, irrespective of the risk. Here, out of all these options, which has got highest return, the first option, 20,000. Therefore, they'll go for this option. So that fight is always there between the board as well as the shareholders. Got it? That's it. Chalo, Nana. So now you can copy from here. Okay, you got 2 minutes per page. Copy, guys. Right, guys. Next half. Okay, done with your copying. We'll move on to the next page. Right, guys. Next half. This one you copy, then I'll go to the lower one. Okay. Done, Nana. Next. Right, Nana. Next page. This is the last one. Finish it off. Right, guys. So time is up. I hope you guys have copied, and I hope you guys have really enjoyed this first international case study. Okay. I'm picking up this from international exams only, so that's obvious. International authors books, international exams. So wherever you've got the best case studies, I'll try to pick it up from there. I hope you guys have enjoyed this a lot. So I've put in a lot of efforts for the same. So thank you so much, guys. We'll meet again in next case study, international case study, of course. Thank you.